Calculus. Okay, I know for a lot of us that word probably brings back some less than fond memories from school. But what if I told you it's not just about a bunch of abstract problems on a whiteboard? What if it's actually a hidden language? A language that describes our dynamic, ever-changing world? Let's take a look.
So, I've got a question for you. What could possibly connect your morning coffee, a global pandemic, and a rocket launching into space? I mean, you've got a simple daily ritual, a massive worldwide event, and one of the biggest technological feats imaginable. The answer, believe it or not, is calculus. It's the secret thread that ties all of these things together, and today we're going to see exactly how.
At its absolute core, calculus is just the mathematics of motion and change. That's it. You know, the name itself actually comes from the Latin word for pebble, because ancient Romans used pebbles to count on an abacus. So you can kind of think of it as a tool for counting and calculation things that refuse to sit still, which, when you stop and think about it, is pretty much everything.
Now, to see what I mean, we don't need to go to some fancy lab or fire up a supercomputer. We can actually start with something way more familiar, our own morning routine. Because yeah, even before you've had that first sip of coffee, calculus has already been hard at work all around you.
Think about that hot cup of coffee on your desk. You pour it, and it's steaming, right? Maybe around 160 degrees. A couple of minutes later, it's cooled off a bit, down to 120. But here's the thing. After that, the cooling really slows down. See, the temperature doesn't just drop at some constant, steady rate. It cools fastest when it's hottest, and that's a principle described by Newton's law of cooling, which is all expressed using, you guessed it, calculus.
And this is just a perfect way to capture the main idea. This quote really says it all. A derivative, that's a key tool in calculus, is basically a way to measure an instantaneous rate of change. Think of it like a speedometer for anything that's changing. So that cooling coffee, it's a perfect everyday example of a derivative in action.
Okay, let's stick with our morning. Maybe you woke up with a bit of a headache, so you reach for an aspirin. Well, guess what? You've just kicked off another process inside your own body that is completely driven by calculus.
4 hours. Now, what's so special about this number? It is the absolute key to understanding how that aspirin is going to work over the next few hours.
4 hours is the approximate half-life of aspirin. That's just the time it takes for half of the drug to be processed and cleared out of your system. So after 4 hours, you're down to 250 milligrams. This isn't a simple countdown, though. It's a process we call exponential decay. And calculus is absolutely essential in pharmacology because it lets scientists model this process perfectly, which helps them figure out the right dosages to keep us all healthy.
Okay, so we've seen calculus hiding in our coffee cups and our medicine cabinets. Now let's zoom out, because this exact same mathematical language is used to describe and predict change on a much, much grander scale, from global events right here on Earth all the way to outer space. When a pandemic hits, one of the biggest challenges is understanding how a disease is spreading. Well, one of the most powerful tools for that is something called the SEIR model. It basically breaks a population down into 4 groups: the people who are susceptible, then exposed, then infected, and finally recovered. And the way people move between these groups over time, that's described by a system of differential equations, which are really just equations that are all about rates of change.
And believe me, this isn't just some academic exercise. This stuff has huge real-world consequences. This model helps public health officials predict how an outbreak might play out, estimate critical things like the R0 number, how many people one sick person is likely to infect, and figure out the threshold for herd immunity. This calculus provides the framework that informs life-saving public policy. It's incredibly important.
All right, let's totally shift gears from biology to physics. In your typical high school physics problem, you might calculate the force needed to move an object with a constant mass. Simple enough. But rocket science? Well, that's a whole different ballgame. A rocket's mass is constantly changing as it burns through thousands of pounds of fuel every single second. This is a classic calculus problem.
So how in the world do you calculate the force needed to push something that's constantly getting lighter? Well, that force, which we call thrust, is calculated as the rate of change of the rocket's momentum. And as we saw with the coffee, whenever you hear that phrase, rate of change, you know we're talking about the first derivative.
And this all ties back to one of the most fundamental laws of physics, one you've probably heard before. The backward blast of the exhaust, that's the action, creates an equal and opposite forward push on the rocket, that's the reaction. Calculus is the language that lets engineers precisely model this super dynamic exchange and get that rocket safely into orbit.
And speaking of orbit, calculus is also what keeps a lot of the technology up there working perfectly. Which brings me to this number.
1.34 miles. Any ideas what that might represent?
That's the distance error your phone's GPS would build up every single day. Why? It all comes down to Einstein's theory of relativity. The GPS satellites are moving so incredibly fast that time literally passes for them just a tiny bit slower than it does for us down here on Earth. So calculus is used to constantly apply Einstein's theories and correct for this time dilation, making sure your GPS can actually tell you where to turn.
So far, we found calculus in our kitchens, in our bodies, and in the technology we use every day. For our final section, let's go to the grandest scale of all, the universe itself.
You know, this has to be one of the most mind-bending and beautiful facts about our existence. The distances in space are just so unbelievably vast that the light from the stars takes years, centuries, sometimes even millennia to finally reach our eyes.
Let's just take our closest stellar neighbor, Proxima Centauri. This number right here represents its distance from us in light years.
That number, 4.2 light years, it means the light hitting your eyes when you look at that star tonight actually left its source 4.2 years ago. When you look up at the night sky, you are literally seeing a photograph of the past. But calculus doesn't just let us look back, it also helps us look forward.
Back in the 1920s, Edwin Hubble discovered that our universe is expanding. But here's the kicker. The rate of that expansion isn't constant, it's changing. And to model how that rate changes over billions of years, cosmologists use a differential equation, an equation that, as we've learned, is all about describing rates of change. Calculus is the language they use to peer into the distant future and ask one of the biggest questions of all: what is the ultimate fate of our universe?
So from the cooling of a cup of coffee to the expansion of the entire cosmos, calculus is the hidden language that connects it all. It's the tool that allows us to read the story of a universe that is defined by constant, relentless change. So the only real question left is,